Hey, Rachel with HEIGHTSTONIAN here. Just wanting to go live today to share a few stories that I found online that I think are kind of interesting. And one has to do with the top words of wisdom that the older generation wants to give to the younger generation. Now, these are things that you've probably heard about in your entire life. So, some I actually hadn't heard from anybody I know. So we will just go over a few of those and see what the older generation has to say and see what the message is. I'm sure we can all really use some really great words of advice from most anyone who's had a lot of life experience. So that's what we're going to look at today. Now, apparently someone asked the older people, doesn't necessarily have to be super old, but just older and wiser, right? Well, the older people gave their best words of wisdom and they found to be the most valuable. So they included start saving for retirement in your 20s. Now, if you're like me, probably didn't start saving exactly like as much as you wanted to in your 20s. You probably tried, but yeah, so if you can pass that information along to someone you know and love, definitely do so. And also treating others how you like to be treated. Now that I've always heard, and that is something that I've always tried to live by, treating people how I'd like to be treated. We all want, to maintain a certain level of dignity and respect, and to get that from other people, we actually have to start treating people that way too. So that's a really great word of advice from the older generation to the younger generation. And also, manners don't cost a thing. Sitting at the table and just, using the right fork doesn't always matter, but as long as you use the correct manners or just try to be polite and not eat with your foot, that's probably the greatest thing you can do is just, but manners, don't cost a thing. That's something that the older generation said. And always try your best. Now, I've given this a few tries, going live and doing this thing online, and always trying my best is something that I really try to put forward. I try to bring you good content, and then also to do my best at explaining and being part of the story. So that is something. Always do your best, no matter what you're doing, and you'll be rewarded for that, perhaps. Not always if you fail, but anyway, always do your best. And also, if your job offers you a pension plan, take it. Now, I can't tell you how many times people have given me advice to take a pension plan or take the retirement plan. Always be able to invest in yourself whenever possible. That is always some really great advice. And also, don't spend all your time on social media. Now, I'm not here all the time, and I'll probably start doing more live videos like this very soon. But not spending all my time on social media is something that I really take to heart, because I don't try to do that. I try to do things outside of social media, which is, just time for myself and personal hobbies and other projects and things that you have going on. Always have something else going on. I think that's pretty wise advice coming from the older generation. And also, start saving for retirement in your 20s. I already said that, so we're not going to repeat that again. And also, hold on to the people closest to you. Now, family, friends, that's always really important to me. So I really, keep the people closest that I really care about closest to me. So yeah, that's some really great advice. Also, and being confident in your own skin. Now, I know I have had a tough time with being confident in my own skin a lot of my life. But yeah, you get used to it. You gotta try to love yourself so you can receive the love from others. So yeah, that's some of the advice that the older generation has given to the younger generation. And also to not take things for granted. You never know what can happen in a split second. So moving on to another story that I looked at today that I thought was pretty interesting is, how many people do you trust? Can you count them on one hand? 2? Well, turns out the average person only trusts 7 people. 7. That is it. And if you think about how many people you really trust in your life, being family or friends, Tom Hanks, who do you really trust? You can't count yourself, though. That is within this 7 people rule. You can't count yourself. So out of all the people that you trust, it's according to a recent study. So you may trust more people, you may trust less, you may trust fewer, have some, trust issues. I can, understand everybody has certain boundaries, but 40% say the pandemic has actually helped reveal those who are trustworthy and not so trustworthy. Being so close to people, I mean, you know that the number of divorces has increased during this time, so it's been tough for a lot of people to, really kind of see the true colors in others that they thought they trusted or thought that they cared about so much, but turns out they're not deserving of this care. So actually more than 8 out of 10 people think they themselves are trustworthy though. So I think I'm pretty trustworthy. I don't put my attention to where I don't think it's going to be warranted or received or, well deserved. I don't really trust just anybody either, so it does take some time to kind of warm up to me. Now, this study also found the top signs that you're trustworthy, and those include being reliable. How many times have you called somebody and they're, say they're going to be there for you, and they show up? They take on whatever kind of challenge you have in order to help you. They're reliable. And not being manipulative. Now, how many of you have been manipulated by either a past somebody or another friend somebody or somebody or just being manipulated? I have a pretty good manipulation radar to where I can tell when I'm being manipulated. I can also tell where I'm not wanted. So don't press stop. but yeah, that is one of the things that you just don't want to be manipulated. So not being manipulated is a real good sign of being trustworthy. So just keep that in mind. Also, having integrity, being able to come through on things and really kind of proving to be your best, put your best self forth, then that is really great. Having integrity is another really good sign of being trustworthy. And respecting boundaries. I have major boundaries. I don't want to be taken advantage of, manipulated, or anything like that. So yeah, respecting boundaries is really important to me. I have maybe like a 10-level boundary bank where I don't let people pass a certain, mark. Maybe acquaintances, people I've barely met or know, they stay at level 10, and I don't really let them in. Maybe, if I tell them my last name, for instance, that could be, level 9 or 6. I mean, if I really kind of want to get to know them or allow them to get to know me. But I determine how far beyond certain boundaries they will get with getting to know me. So that is very important good sign of being trustworthy. Also, being a good listener. I have always been told that I am a great listener. I don't always, spike up and say, hey, this is what I have to say. I mean, if I'm asked, sure, and if I am given the some sort of forum to say something, then I will. But I'm not always like super, outspoken, especially if I'm not, really asked my opinion. I kind of try to keep my thoughts to myself a lot of times. But being a good listener, I've always been told as a good friend that I'm a good listener. And I think that is so important because some people just need to say what they're thinking. They really just want to get what they want to say off their chest. And you should be, kind of feel lucky that they want to share that information with you and be close to you in that way. That is the sign of a real good friend, and apparently someone who is trustworthy. And also being authentic. Now I'll tell you, today I have not put on a stitch of makeup, and don't fault me for that. I hope I don't lose points with you on that. But also, I haven't colored my hair. Sure, I've taken the color out of it, but just being authentic in that I can't change this. And I can't, change certain things about myself and, things that you've been through in life, certain challenges you've had. It makes you authentic and actually makes you pretty special. So being authentic is a really good sign of being trustworthy, and I really strive to do that too. So I thank you for taking the time to watch my video and be a part of my life. So yeah, let's be friends. And not canceling on plans at the last minute. I can't tell you how many times during my teenage years I was stood up, and it was so painful, really, really painful, when people just plain outright did not show up when they said they were going to, and I was all dressed up, ready to go somewhere, and they didn't come by to pick me up, or didn't come by to, stay with me, or hang out with me, or play games with me, or something. That was very, very hurtful, and it proved to me that they were not trustworthy people, and I don't know them anymore today. So I guess that takes care of that. Okay, so moving on to another story here. Something else that I did kind of saved for you to tell you about the 2021 best and worst cities to raise a family. Now, talk about people you can trust. If you can't trust an entire city with your family, definitely stay away. Now, I was really curious because I am in Texas, in a city in Texas, so I'm actually in Houston. But these cities are all over the country, and of course one is actually in Texas. So just going over this list, this annual study by Wallet Hub, and this is like a source where a lot of studies come out of this source. So Wallet Hub puts out a lot of information that I think is kind of interesting and good to know, especially if you're trying to raise a family. Now, there are the 2021 best and worst cities I was trying to tell you, right? Well, it turns out that the best cities to raise a family in 2021 are Overland Park, Kansas. Now, I haven't been to Kansas lately. Not real interest in going. But that one, along with Fremont, California, Irvine, California, and Plano, Texas, and Columbia, Maryland are all places that are the best, amongst the best places to raise a family in 2021. So that's the whole list there for the best cities to raise a family. Now, the full story here. Now, you'll move an average of 11 times in your life. I've moved 1, 2, 3, 4, if you count where I'm at now. And that's, out of 11, I guess I've moved about half the times. And one of them tends to be when you start a family. So sometimes you have to move to a new house because you need more bedrooms, or you need a bigger backyard, or a playroom for the kiddos, or maybe you're adding another, so you need an extra bedroom. But so where are the best places to live? I pretty much just told you that. Fremont, California, Plano, Texas, which I'm pretty interested in kind of going to and finding out now why they seem to be amongst the best cities to raise a family. So an annual study found that 180 U.S. cities, actually according to 48 different metrics, like schools, cost of living, crime, and it even looks at stuff like how safe it is for kids to ride bikes. So, my mom was always after me about getting home before dark, because you never know what can happen after dark. Someone could hit you on a bike, or you have an accident, or you fall in a pothole you don't even see, or something. But here are the 10 best cities to raise a family in 2021. So this is the entire list, okay? I told you maybe a few of them, but anyway, this is all of them. Now, there's one that Overland Park, Kansas. I mentioned that one earlier, but it actually ranks first in affordability. So it's better cost of living, perhaps. I don't know about crime there, but yeah, so actually it ranked first in affordability. So if you're on a budget with your family and you really need to go somewhere where, you want to raise a family in a really great city, apparently Overland Park, Kansas is the place for you and your family. And then Fremont, California, Irvine, California. These are, Fremont is just outside of San Francisco. And I've been to San Francisco. It's pretty pricey to live there and to even visit. But that is another option for you because it's among the most, wonderful cities to live in for you and your family. And then Plano, Texas, Columbia, Maryland, which is about halfway between Baltimore and D.C. I hadn't been there, but I've lived around in Maryland. Anyway, South Burlington, Vermont. Yeah, that makes about 5 or 6 times I've moved. Yeah, so I'm past the halfway point. I just realized I lived there around there 1 year. Anyway, Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, I have a friend who is looking into real estate in Arizona, and I'll have to tell her about this for families. It's supposed to be like one of the best cities to live in for you and your family. And then Gilbert, Arizona. Never would have thought of that, but apparently Gilbert, Arizona is a really great place to raise your family. And the last one on the list, Madison, Wisconsin. And I've known one person from Wisconsin, and they have okay things to say about the state, but yeah, I haven't experienced it for myself, so I'm not gonna, give you any kind of reviews because I've never been. And then also another story that I thought was kind of interesting. Have you ever had a crush on someone at work? Who's like, they're kind of eyeing you like this? Well, if you've ever had a crush on someone at work, You're not the only one. In fact, 54% of Americans answered yes to that question when they took this poll. Now, it was another 4% that said that they would rather not talk about it. So maybe they're a little embarrassed, or maybe they have something going on the sly with their crush at work, their crush. But so that's probably also a yes, with that 4% who'd rather not talk about it. But I mean, it's just a crush. It doesn't mean that you're in a relationship with somebody. But men were much more likely to say that they had a work crush, go figure, than 59% at 59% compared to the 48% of women who said they just had a crush at work as well. So, and this last stat seems a little gross, but I think you can handle it. But people with higher salaries were most likely to say that they've had a crush on someone at work. With higher salaries, more money means I guess you feel like you can have a crush. So that's kind of one of the things too, which suggests a lot of bosses might have answered yes in the poll. So just beware. Maybe your boss has a little crush on you. Doesn't mean you have to act on anything or even ask him, hey, do you have a crush on me? Do you have a crush on me? I need to know. No, you don't need to know. Just back off. Just let things be. I mean, just don't let them touch you, or don't let them say anything to you that you can go to HR for. I'm sure they want to keep their job, so they're not going to tell you whether they have a crush on you, right? So that is kind of interesting. More men than women have a crush on someone they work with. People in the higher income brackets, good to know, right? And, okay, so this is a kind of a weird story. Now, if you actually wanted a Disney hack, well, that requires a little underboob. This is the hack for you. Apparently, something is going viral about more women will probably be going to Disneyland with this kind of hack if they can get something free out of it, right? But it, apparently, anyway. So, well, at least, or maybe a lot of teenage boys hope they will. So, a woman on TikTok named Amanda DeMeo went to Disneyland last month, and her outfit violated the dress code, right? So she showed a little underboob, like the little fleshy part under the nipple that kind of sticks out underneath your shirt or your bra. But she had a little underboob showing when she went to Disney World. So, so the park ended up giving her a $75 t-shirt for free. That's $0. Right? To cover herself up. They wanted her to cover herself up because she was just showing off her body, being her underboob. Now, I go to the water park or I go to the beach and I see people with their butt cheeks hanging out and half their booty cheeks are hanging out. I don't say anything. I'm not, judging, but it's there. It's like. So anyway, this girl says that they gave her a $50 voucher. Right? They gave her a $50 voucher for a free t-shirt. Go get yourself a t-shirt, cover yourself up, and go to the gift shop. So they gave her this $50 voucher to go to the gift shop. So she did, and the manager was like, here you go, girl, here you go. And she's like, no, I like the one that's worth $75. $75 t-shirt, okay? Now I know that people are running around with, shirts worn by the homeless that cost like $300 now, but anyway, that's $75 is still a lot for a t-shirt, right? Well, they said, okay, fine. They actually gave her the t-shirt, the $75 t-shirt. So she posted the story on TikTok and calls it the new Disney hack. So I'm not encouraging you to try it or show up to Disneyland with your boobs hanging out, or your underboob, mind you, but that is part of the dress code. They really want you to cover up just a little, you don't have to have fleshy kind of parts of you being exposed. But yeah, they gave her a free t-shirt as a result. So if you want to do that, this is something that she's encouraging you to try. I'm not doing it, but you can if you want to. And then I guess my last story, this one is just kind of like a little rundown of a lot of different things that I saw. Something I didn't actually know about, which was what is Broadway versus off-Broadway. Well, it has to do with the number of seats. So I think that's kind of interesting. And also, let's see, I told you about that. Pizza Hut is actually bringing back thin crust pizza. Now, I love thin crust pizza, but they're bringing back something called the Edge that debuted in 1997. Now, I think I missed that. I had something else going on. But all the toppings go to the edge of the pizza. So, I mean, I guess anybody who cuts off the crust, no, you're going to want to eat the edge in this case. So it's apparently a huge innovation in the late 90s. That was a big hit. Now they're feeling like they want to bring it back. I mean, I guess how many ways can you create a pizza? They figure that's one that they're going to try out again. So also, let's see. I think that's it. I don't really have anything else I want to tell you other than go to my blog, HEIGHTSTONIAN.com. I do have some headlines there. Being here in Houston, we do have some rain on the way, so I'm giving you a little heads up about that to keep your umbrella handy. And then also, a local artist interviewed a lot of other local artists. Now, his name is Dandy Daneo. Daneo, I think is how you say it. He goes by Dandy Warhol, like Andy Warhol, but with a D in the front. And he actually interviewed a lot of the LGBTQ and Latinx artists in Houston. Now, if you don't know what Latinx is, I'm sure he explains it in this interview with all of these artists that he talked with. So I do have that link on my blog at HEIGHTSTONIAN.com. And then also, TxDOT is launching the Distracted Driving Prevention Campaign. Now, 1 in 5 crashes is actually caused by a distracted driver, in which 367 people died and 2,205 people were seriously injured just last year. So that is due to distracted driving, including holding your phone. I mean, I was out of town this weekend for the Memorial Day holiday, and I saw a lot of people with 2 phones. I saw a guy with 2 phones driving one of these slingshots, which is a 3-wheel kind of vehicle that a lot of people rent. You don't really own these. But anyway, who was holding 2 phones inside of this rented vehicle. Anyway, just kind of blew me away, and he was upset because I was like I wasn't willing to go around him. Anyway, maybe I'm projecting, but anyway, 2 phones, distracted driving, don't do it. The campaign starts this week. We're trying to lower the numbers and reduce the number of fatalities. We do have a fatality streak, fatal accident streak here in Texas. Pretty much like 1 fatal accident happens every day in Texas, and we're trying to end the streak. So distracted driving, don't do it, especially in Texas. We're trying to cut down these numbers, y'all. Yes, y'all. And then if you're looking for a job, oh my gosh, I do have a couple of links where today there were job fairs for the Outback Steakhouse. Steakhouse doesn't sound so good, but steak sure does, right? If you're from Texas, you definitely love steak. I definitely love my steak here in Texas. And also, let's see, United Airlines. United Airlines is having a job fair. They had one day 1 today, and then they're having day 2 tomorrow. So Outback Steakhouse, United Airlines, they're hosting job fairs today and tomorrow. So it's going to be Wednesday and Thursday, the 2nd and the 3rd. So take part, find out, check it out. It's all at HEIGHTSTONIAN.com. And then also, Amazon has announced the date for Prime Day 2021. How many of you are just waiting for that thing that's in your cart? Well, I tell you when is the time to strike. It's at HEIGHTSTONIAN.com as well. So be sure and check that out. I also have a deal on free beer. 70% of Americans who, if we get up to a 70%, this is a vaccine incentive by the president, who says if you get 1 shot, at least just 1 shot, not one of these, but one of these, get a jab of the vaccine, at least one of them, like your first dose, by July 4th, he'll get everyone some free beer. Now, I have those details at HEIGHTSTONIAN.com. You have to go there to check it out. But he has a lot of different incentives. You can probably Google vaccine, Biden incentives for the shot or something like that, and you'll definitely find a lot out there. There are a lot of even giveaways. Some states are giving away trucks or giving away money to people who are vaccinated. So it just kind of goes to show where we're headed, at least temporarily, because he's actually doing this in an effort to get 70% of Americans vaccinated by July 4th. If we're all vaccinated by July 4th, or at least 70% are, then that will reduce the chance of having a resurgence. Now, we don't want to have a resurgence. We just are able to finally be able to figure out whether we're going to wear a mask in public or not. And, to have a choice is a privilege. I say that about a lot of things. And, okay, so also the Houston Rodeo. big tradition here in Texas. Huge. And I always love going to the rodeo. I love the animals. I love seeing the big piggies. Don't look at my arms. But the big piggies out in the livestock unit where they get kind of like carted around and there's a big contest and stuff. And then you have the livestock animals and you have the concerts, you have the barbecue, you have the trail riders, you have all the parade, all of this stuff. Well, some of those traditions are returning. So 2022, the dates are set for pre-rodeo events, including the cook-off, the trail ride, the parade, well, there's stuff anyway. So there's like a lot that goes on. We have to wait until around that time when I'm looking at a headline that just came down in my phone. Sorry. Anyway, so I have all of those details over at HEIGHTSTONIAN.com if you want to have a look. Otherwise, I think I'm done for now. It's 25 minutes. I think I've told you a lot. So I'm kind of new to this daily thing. I'm going to try and do this daily. But yeah, like, subscribe, share, do all the stuff that all the YouTubers want you to do, if you would, to support my channel. I really just hope to be able to bring you a lot of good, helpful information that you can use and that you like and enjoy and are entertained by. So I'm Rachel. I go by HEIGHTSTONIAN. That's my handle. Still trying to get a grip. So